I am all about responsible ownership of animals, and that certainly comes into effect when you start talking about the giant pythons. Now, I've been keeping these big snakes like this albino reticulated python named Daisy since I was 15 years old, so I've had a lifetime of experience with them and I love them to death. But just because I love them and I think they're amazing doesn't mean that you should run out and grab a big snake. My whole point is this episode is all about what you may need if you think that you're ready to take that leap into keeping these majestic giant pythons. I can't do a show about big snakes and not include some amazing power of them feeding. And after all, if you're thinking about keeping a big snake, that's one of the things you're going to have to consider. Not only might you have to feed off some of these guys here, some frozen rabbits, but also just the amount of energy they put into feeding, something you have to be prepared for, and it's truly a breathtaking experience. So let's say that you've been keeping snakes for a little while, which by the way, I think is imperative if you ever think you want to work with the giant snakes. Listen, I've told the story before. When I was 15 years old, my first snake was a Burmese python, which is an absolute terrible decision, people. I always say you should have at least 2 to 4 years worth of experience with other snakes before you can even consider moving on to something big. But let me just back up for a second. Let's say that you were keeping something like a corn snake or a ball python. I personally think that the next progression is to keep something like a boa constrictor. You'll make those slow baby steps up to something big. I'm not a fan of someone going from, say, a corn snake or even a ball python to a reticulated python. That's a big jump. They're very different animals. Now listen, as long as you have that experience, you at least start to understand how these animals work, which is really, really important, because jumping into it without the ability to read what a snake is thinking is a terrible, terrible idea. But let's say that you do have a couple years of experience with a ball python. Now you've moved up to a boa and you have a couple years. What I would like to see you do next is actually find someone in your area that keeps large Burmese pythons or large reticulated pythons and volunteer your time with them. Work with them for say 6 months or a year, once or twice a week, where you're actually working with the animals, you're cleaning them, you're feeding them, you're actually, that way you get an opportunity to understand the power of those animals. Because trust me, as anyone knows, with even a snake like this boa constrictor here, they're almost all muscle and they're just incredibly strong. So when you have a snake that's 200 pounds, sometimes even reticulated pythons getting up to 300 pounds, that is all muscle. And trust me, you may think, oh, well, even a 70-pound snake, I'm a strong person. Trust me, even handling a 70-pound snake takes a tremendous amount of energy. So I can't stress enough, do your homework first and make sure that you have some experience before you even consider it. But hey, if you're in the position where you think you're ready, let's move on to the next level. Okay, one thing to consider when you're keeping big snakes, and this is a really big rule that we always follow. Well, I break it every now and then, but I'm not supposed to break it, and that is to always have a buddy. And of course, my buddy is Trevor here. A buddy system is really important. Listen, you never know when you're going to get into a sketchy situation, and these snakes, they're strong, they're big, they're not trying to kill you, but it's important to have someone that's right there in case something does go wrong, they can help you out. So one, Trevor always is here when we're messing with the big snakes. Number two, he can be cleaning Lucy when I pull her out. And so you might see that I've got a snake hook in my hand. Let me show you real quick. Let's go ahead and open up. Now, I'm never using the snake hook as a way to pick a snake up, really. What I'm doing is I'm just using it to just kind of tell her, hey, it's me, I'm not food. And I'm just going to kind of move her head just a little bit and just make her sure that she understands that I'm not gonna hurt her, that she has nothing to worry about. And you can see she's a little agitated right now, and I don't wanna get her any more agitated than I have to. And eventually with retics, it's typically a situation where, see, when she starts bucking me really bad, it's not a good sign at all. That means that she's in a really bad mood today, guys. And that's the one thing about big snakes. You have to be able to read them and understand her actions are just weird. So anyways, my point is these are things that you need experience with so that you understand before you start messing with these big snakes. Oh, she is in a pissed off mood today.
Yeah, she is.
Holy moly, this is gonna be tough, guys. As soon as she starts to run, usually that's a good sign, but she is bucking really hard. And so these are things that you need to really understand, and I'm gonna probably need your help just for a few minutes here. No, you keep on that side.
Okay.
I'm just saying, keep with me for a minute because she's not acting as good as I'd like her to. So she could easily come back and try to bite me right now. And again, you gotta remember, Lucy is just over 19 foot, and she is all muscle, guys. So again, it may look awesome. You see pictures of me, or you see pictures of other people or videos, you think, oh my God, I want a snake like that. That is so awesome. But the truth is, you gotta be in a position where you understand how to deal with these animals, because you don't wanna be putting yourself or anyone else in danger. She's got a lot of energy right now. Oh gosh, that's always scary when you have one coming up right on your face, you know?
Watch out.
Oh, jeez. This is, I tell you guys, you hear me breathing. I don't want to say that I'm in bad shape because I'm in pretty good shape. These things wear you out. So, and holy cow, she's giving me a run for my money right now. These guys can get 23, 24 foot long. We're going to cut back to Trevor in a minute here. Is that you have to clean these guys, and they are messy when they're this big. And hey, listen, I'm not trying to talk you out of keeping a big snake because I absolutely love them, and I couldn't imagine life without them. It's sometimes literally, okay, she's calming down just a little bit right now. I tell you what, guys, that is a lot of work right there. And I'm so happy, but you know what? Sometimes when she calms down, you gotta, again, know how to read the animal. Is she calming down because she's running out of energy? Or is she calming down because she's kind of rearing up to try to strike? I think owning a big snake is an incredible experience. You know, I can't imagine life without it. But, you know, again, you have to really understand, it can't be a macho trip. You know, it's like keeping venomous snakes too. You don't want to keep these because you're cool or, oh, look at my big snake. It's not anything like that. I want to see future generations being able to handle animals like this. And this comes back to my next point, is it only takes one idiot to ruin it for everybody. So make sure you have a secure cage. You understand what you're doing. You know, don't be an idiot. You know, don't get a big snake because you want to have a macho trip and then have the snake get out and potentially hurt somebody, and maybe not even hurt somebody. But hey, listen, if someone sees a 20-foot python crawling in their backyard, even if it doesn't hurt them, it's going to make news, and it's going to hurt people like me and people like you that want to keep these big snakes. If you're ready, guys like me are always here to help you through things. We're here to give you advice. But again, take my previous advice before you decide to take that jump. And just take a look at Trevor right there. I mean, this is what you're going to be doing every week. This isn't a corn snake, right, Trevor?
They're a lot messier than a corn snake, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, and Trevor's got to do this every single week. You know, every week. He's in that cage cleaning it out, and you know, it's funny because sometimes you'll clean this cage and the next day it's wrecked, right?
It takes a matter of minutes for it to get wrecked, so it can take just a couple minutes. You might have to clean it the next day. Lucy
here, she actually eats frozen rabbits, and she'll eat 2 frozen rabbits a week that are about 7-8 pounds. So that's a lot of food. It's a lot. And let me tell you, Trevor can attest to this, right? Is that when they going in is one thing, but coming out is a different thing, right, Trevor?
I like it better when it goes in.
Yeah. I know for a fact that she'll sit like this and she'll be really chill. But if Trevor were to walk in front of this right here, man, that would be a problem. As a matter of fact, guys, there was actually a vlog where Trevor almost got bit by this one. And speaking of vlogging, I'm vlogging every single day, Monday through Friday, about my life, you know, about my adventures, about things that I do. So if you guys want to check it out, make sure I'll put an annotation here and a link down in the description. make sure to check out my daily vlog. It's a cool thing. If you want to know what it's like to live a life of animal adventure, it's always a good time, and you'll catch it every single day. So make sure to check it out and subscribe if you don't mind. So this is just the worst spot to be in right now, because if I move away from her, she's going to strike at me. So I'm trying to just get her to kind of move on her own, because right now she's, you know, retics are so intelligent. Right now she's totally keying on me. That's all she's thinking about is me. So if I can just kind of get her to kind of go away and start to move away a little bit. Go ahead, girl. Go ahead. Now calm down. There we go. We're in good shape now. She's still not happy. Ooh, she is definitely not happy, but she's all right now. We got her going. All right. So there it is. Yep. Whew. Whew. I tell you what, man. Good work, Trevor. Ready to go, man.
All right. Let's
All right.
carry on to round 2.
All right, so guys, after a slight breather and get ourselves together here, we're gonna move on to Satan. Now, Satan isn't nearly as energetic when it comes to Lucy, so she's actually a lot easier to mess with, but she's also extremely willing to want to strike. So I tell you what, why don't you come up with me real quick, and we'll get to kind of open up and see where she's at. You can just see how dirty she can get just in a week, you know? I mean, it's just unfortunate the way these things go. And again, she immediately kind of keys on what's going on here. And you know, she's usually pretty good as far as like understanding what she wants to do. Again, if she's gonna strike, she usually strikes relatively early. And then once she strikes once or twice, she's usually pretty good, you know? So what are you doing, girl? You gonna strike or are you gonna not? Because if you're not gonna strike, I wanna just get you out and get you cleaned up. And again, this is a Burmese python, which is a little bit different than a reticulated python, because a Burmese python is a little bit more mellow, and she's definitely a little bit less agile as a retic. So a retic is going to be like flying at me, whereas she's just coming up really kind of slow. But with that being said, she's definitely, if I got close enough, she'd be happy to strike at me. And I'm kind of in a weird position right now because I can't really get her close, so I'm just going to try to push her away a little bit and see if we can't get her back in. But again, Satan is an amazing animal. I've had her since she was a baby. I hatched her out, and she's just always been kind of a little bit aggressive, defensive, let's say. And for that reason, you know, I've gotten to really know her well, and she's just, whoop, yep, she's not quite ready. So what you have to do with Satan is you just have to wait till she's ready to let you pick her up. You know, and you could cowboy it up and try to just grab her, but that's not going to be a good situation at all. And you just have to, again, as long as she's just kind of going the other way, she's usually pretty good. What are you going to do, girl? What are you going to do? You gonna bite me? Girl, come on. Come on. Come on, little sweetie. So as long as she's going the other way, as long as she's going the other way, we'll be able to get her. Okay, Trevor, I think we're good to go.
Yeah,
hang on one second. Let me just get her a little. Oh, dang it, she's just really.
She's a little bit in a funky mood today, huh?
But that's okay. We got her now. So this is the thing with Satan, is like once you kind of get her, now she's completely cool. You know, don't have to really worry about her coming back and biting you or doing anything like that. So she's really a pretty amazing animal. But I'm going to put her in the cage, that holding tub.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if you want to get that for me.
Here, hold her.
I got her. All right, guys, so there it is. My girl Satan, who is always known as being such a handful, and here she is around my neck, crawling around. So this certainly can tell you that the beast can be. Oh my God, she's squeezing the shit out of me. Here, help me out here, Trevor. She's got me good. She's about to pop she's about to pop my head off, guys. Holy crap.
There she goes.
That got a little bit tight. Pretty quick. So Burmese pythons are definitely what I consider the gentle giants. The vast majority of them are extremely docile and super easy. As a matter of fact, next we're going to clean. You go ahead and get cleaning, man. Next we're going to clean Sunshine. And again, you know, you're starting to see what is the responsibility. Are you ready for animals like this? I mean, we've been working with these animals our whole lives, and still you can see it's sometimes a challenge, right? So you want to make sure that you're ready for that responsibility. But listen, I am a guy that is pro keeping of big snakes if you're responsible and able to do it. I do not want to see these things get outlawed because I think they're amazing animals. And you know what? When I do educational shows for kids, I'll bring the coolest animals in the world. But it's always when I take Sunshine out, my big python, that I get the biggest crowd response. And that's when I know those kids are going home at night and they're telling their parents, oh my God, you know, I saw this huge snake at school today and this guy talked about how cool they were. And so to me, I can't imagine life without that. You know, I can't imagine if these things get outlawed that we aren't able to educate the future of how amazing these animals are, right? So again, be responsible. If you think you're ready for it, that's fine, but make sure that you're responsible. You don't want to ruin it for future generations. So the good news is that Satan is usually pretty good when she's in a holding tub and then back in her cage. You don't even have to worry about her striking, which is pretty good. So we'll go ahead and just get her out. I mean, usually it's a pretty non-eventful thing, to be honest with you. But she's a good snake, and actually Trevor's been working with Satan a lot more over the last couple months, and she's really taming out. I mean, there was never a time that I could have taken her out without at least getting one strike. So the fact that now we're getting to the point where sometimes she doesn't strike at all, that tells you a lot about what's going on with her. But again, that's the difference between a Burmese and a reticulated python. And you can just see the total temperament different is just completely different. So, so definitely really a neat animal. So now on to my baby, the one I love so much. One of my, certainly my mascots.
You might want to use the snake hook for this one.
Yeah, you don't need a snake hook for this one because she's never, ever gonna bite you. And of course, that's my girl Sunshine. So there it is, guys. I mean, basically a recap of what it's like to keep big animals. You know, certainly Sunshine here is kind of the just one in a million animals that just loves people, loves to chill out. She'll sit on my lap and just hang out with me all day. I mean, she never really wants to go anywhere. And I get asked all the time, do you think snakes like to be handled and held? And the truth is that I'm not really sure what it is. Maybe they become tolerant of it, but Sunshine does seem to be the one snake that actually enjoys human interaction, which I think is just absolutely amazing. But regardless, guys, you've seen from the big snakes like Lucy that are really energetic, to Satan that's a little bit cantankerous, to of course Sunshine that's just an absolute doll. And listen, if you're going to get a big snake, you really don't know what that snake is going to be like when it's a baby. Certainly handling it, feeding it, giving it the proper environment is going to somewhat mold its temperament, you know? But at the same time, each individual animal is an individual. Sunshine, I really believe, was born just the most incredibly docile animal. Satan was born to be a little bit pissed off. And then you have Lucy, that's a good animal, but she's moody sometimes. 9 times out of 10 you take her out, she's 100% great, she's really energetic, but she's an amazing animal. And then once in a while she decides she wants to just be mean that day. So you have to take all of that into consideration. And then if you think you're ready and you've done all the things I've talked about, I can promise you this, keeping a big snake will be one of the best experiences of your entire life, but only if you're ready for it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this kind of look into the big pythons, the gentle giants as I like to call them, and sometimes not so gentle, but regardless, I've had a blast working with them. I gotta be honest, I'm a little bit tired out. But as always, guys, I'm Facebooking, tweeting, snapping, Instagramming my way through things. So follow me over at SnakeBytesTV. Until next week, from me and Sunshine, you've been watching Snake Bites.